Hi everyone and welcome to the French Watch Collector. Today on the bench we have a Tudor Submariner, and you can see from the outside it's quite in bad state. We have the bezel, which you can see is obvious. There is a problem. This is a spring, fully broken. The bezel was not turning as well, so we'll have to have a look at that later, obviously on the case. But what we're gonna do a full service on this watch. This beautiful Tudor Submariner. Just gonna remove the bracelet first. And obviously we're gonna disassemble fully this watch inside and outside and give it a full clean, a full service, and hopefully this beautiful watch will work perfectly again after that. We see there is a couple of issues already on the outside, where we see inside what we can find. First I'm checking, and you can see I see the movement is moving inside the case. You see when I turn, you see it moving left and right. That's not right. That's probably something wrong with the clamps, which are keeping the movement inside the case. Just checking now if the date is jumping at midnight. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, the date is jumping, the time is changing. We're gonna open the case back, and you can see this is a Rolex case back. Actually, it's a Rolex case. So yeah, this Tudor before was using a Rolex case. And crown as well. Obviously on the one as well you had some with Rolex bracelet. This one did not come with a metal bracelet, but with a kind of fabric bracelet from Tudor. I'm gonna open, and you can see inside. We can see some mark. We see some mark inside of the case. So this watch was definitely serviced before. You see 68. So I guess this watch is from 68, from 1968. Not sure, but put down some comment down below if you like, if you think this watch is from 68 as well, and if you have information about this model, which is a very nice Tudor Submariner. And you can see on the time grapher the beat error is very high at 2.4. Amplitude is low, not very low, but it's quite low. And yes, the watch is losing 31 seconds a day, so definitely need a service. And hopefully we see at the end if we can get this result a bit better. Just going to remove the automatic winding system first. Just keep it in place with 2 screws. You can see the Tudor sign on the rotor there. Auto prints. And actually this caliber is not written anywhere, but it's an ETA caliber. Not a Rolex, and that's the difference between the Tudor from before and Rolex. There is other differences we will see a bit later on as well on the case, but yeah, compared to the Rolex, obviously they have a Rolex caliber inside, and the Tudor being, if you want the cheaper version compared to the Rolex, they came with ETA, which is a great movement as well. The ETA movements, very reliable, very easy to maintain, a lot of parts, you can find parts very easily. So yeah, great watches, and that's why these Tudor Submariners, they take a lot of value. I guess this one is probably around 10,000 euro, or more or less $10,000 as well, maybe even more, like if you have like special version. And some of them are actually more expensive than Rolex from the same era. Yeah, so that's quite unbelievable. From the Rolex Submariner, the Tudor Submariner is worth more. Yeah. So that's it. Now we have the caliber out of the case. You can see the beautiful dial there. Tudor Prince Oyster date. This is the ring which keeps the caliber nice and center. And now we are just going to remove the beautiful snowflake hands. Just making sure we don't damage the dial by putting this plastic on the top, this plastic cover. And with my Presso tool, I managed to remove 2 hands, but actually our hand is very, very close to the dial, so it did not grab it. So I'm just going to remove it with a different method. Just going to use a pair of hand lever there just to slide underneath and lift up the hand there. Okay, so now the hands fully removed. So we can focus on the case and removing the dial now. So we're gonna remove the dial fit screw and the dial should come off. There we go, perfect. Just gonna keep it in this little box there, just to make sure it's nice and safe, doesn't get damaged. And now that's it. We can see the other side, the dial side of the caliber, where we have a date mechanism on this one. I'm just gonna release the power there, keeping the click with my tweezer, and now I can gently release the power, keeping, you see the crown between my finger, and the movement will come to a stop, yeah. Just removing the jewel there from the balance wheel. Like that, it will get clean separately later on in the machine. And now I can remove this beautiful balance with this nice blued hairspring. Very fragile, so that's why you remove it at the beginning, just to make sure you don't damage the hairspring. You see this very thin hairspring there. And now we carry on with the rest of the disassembly. So the purpose there will be to disassemble each single parts, and you will see at the end we put them in a cleaning machine. So like that, all the parts we will remove, like the dirt, the dust, if there is any dust. But this one looks quite clean, being obviously a diving watch is sealed pretty well compared to other type of watch. For example, chronograph. Some of the chronographs, especially vintage chronograph, they are not sealed very well. So you will have dirt that can come inside the watch. But there it looks quite clean. Just check the end shake there. You saw me checking the end shake on a barrel assembly, sorry. And it was fine. A bit of play, but not too much. Just enough. And all these parts, yeah, so that we like I said, we clean everything. And after that, we will reassemble the caliber, putting grease and oil everywhere as it should. And hopefully you see the result on a time grapher at the beginning was not very nice. At the end, it should be much better. So close to between 270 and 300 on the amplitude. And yeah, with a time closer to 0 and a bit error as well, closer to 0. Okay, so now I'm going to remove the barrel bridge. And you can see this one actually, there is a part underneath there where we have the crown wheel coming. We have this beautiful barrel assembly, always love this gold color on the barrel assembly there. We will remove the mainspring later on. Just checking the end shake there on all the wheels. And it looks fine, there was not too much end shake, so we don't need to adjust anything. And now we can remove the train of wheel bridge. And we can see the parts start to pile up a bit on the bench there. It's not a very complicated watch. Obviously, you have a couple of complications being automatic, so you will have a winding mechanism and there's a date on this one. You will have a calendar ring and a date function. So a couple of complications, but yeah, it's not too complicated. That's it. The train of wheel is fully disassembled, and now we move to the die side, where we're gonna take first the calendar mechanism. Here we have the minute wheel. And now we move to the other side, where we're gonna remove first this plate there, which is keeping an intermediate wheel. Just gonna take out the date disc there, you see, with my carbon tweezer, just to make sure we don't scratch anything. Just gonna put it with the die there. Again, you will be safe, and yeah, don't run the risk of scratching or doing any damage to the date disc there. We have the day jumper. Very nice design with a little wheel at the end actually. There's a calendar pinion which is mounted on this wheel, and you will have the calendar wheel there. Okay, the calendar mechanism is fully disassembled, and now just gonna disassemble the keyless work. So that's a part of the watch that, on this watch is quite simple actually. Even if you have a date function, you don't have a quick side date or a hack. So it's pretty simple. It just has two positions, winding and setting the time. So that's what this mechanism is doing there. Just allowing when you pull on a crown, just to sync all the parts inside the mechanism, just to wind the watch first in the first position, or if you pull the crown, it will go to the time setting position. And basically will transmit the power and the rotation that you do on a crown to different parts depending on which setting you are. Just releasing there the screw for the setting lever. And that is the last few parts from the keyless work. We have the clutch and a winding pinion. So yeah, we are done there. We still have few parts. We have a cap jewel there to remove. Again, just to make sure it will get clean. And you see some oil actually still underneath. And this is a jewel from the balance assembly on the dial side, obviously. We already removed the one which was on the balance side. Okay. So now I'm just gonna peg all the jewels from the watch, and actually there's quite a lot of jewels on this old ETA movement. Quite a nice one. Just again to remove any dried up oil or grease on a jewel. We make it easier when we put all the parts in a cleaning machine. Place back the balance there on the bridge. Again, it's a safe place to keep it during cleaning. Okay, so now I'm gonna focus on barrel assembly. Just gonna open it there. And inside we see, it looks quite clean inside actually for automatic winding system. Just gonna remove the barrel arbor. And we will take out the mainspring. You see this one is a very long mainspring inside, so just alpha turn by alpha turn, we just unwind it fully out of the barrel assembly. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna focus on a automatic winding mechanism. Just gonna remove the big screw in the center there, which will unleash the rotor on the other side. Now we have this big rotor there. And you see you have a screw which is like halfway, which is keeping the reversing wheel in position. But if you turn it alpha turn in the other direction, now they're free to be removed. Nothing is keeping them in position. So yes, a very interesting design. Now I'm just gonna take the second one out of, there, it's just there. And on the other side, you have this arm there that I will remove with a screwdriver, open it with a screwdriver there, which is keeping the wheel in position as well. When it's out of the way, I can remove the wheel. Just doing a gentle polish there on the pivot points you see from the train of wheels. I will do it on all the wheels, obviously. And now that everything is disassembled, get a rough pre-clean on all the parts, we can put them in baskets. And this basket will go inside the cleaning machine. And you see actually it's quite a lot of parts for a simple watch being just automatic and with a calendar mechanism. And here we go. Now all the parts are in the baskets and we can put them in a cleaning machine. So this is my vintage Elma cleaning machine. So we will clean the parts you see which are in this basket first through a cleaning solution. And then we will put the parts through a rinsing solution 2 times. And we will finish by drying the parts. I would like to use this opportunity to tell you that I have a Patreon page. You can find a link down below in the description of this video if you want to go and support my channel. And I would like to thank all my existing patrons which are supporting the channel. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting the channel. And if you want to join the group, again, like I said, you will have the link down below in the description. And you can subscribe to one of the plans, and it will help me a lot to support the channel and to put better content for you. As well, if you did not subscribe to the channel, please click on the subscribe button. You can click as well on a thumbs up if you like the video. It will help to share this nice video to other watch lovers, and it will help to grow the channel. So again, I will be able to put better content for you out there. Okay, so now that the parts are clean, I'm gonna first focus on a case before we start reassemble the mechanism. Just gonna remove, you see the bezel here. Just gonna take out, and you remember the insert, like the aluminum insert in the bezel, and the spring was already out when the watch came. Just taking the crystal out now. There we go. So all the case are disassembled, it's disassembled. So I'm just gonna clean all the parts in my ultrasonic cleaning machine just to make sure like all the dirt and dust is removed from the case. And again, I will put a link down below in the description for if you want to buy this ultrasonic machine. I have a link with a 5% discount as well. It's a great machine to clean watch case, watch metal bands if you want for watches as well. So okay, now all the parts are getting clean. And while the parts are getting clean in the ultrasonic machine as well, we're gonna focus on a crystal. The crystal is acrylic, so it's a kind of a plastic, so it can be polished very easily. So I'm just gonna do a gentle polish on a crystal there to remove any small scratches which is on the surface of this crystal. Just with a very light polish compound. I use, you see me, like a red polish compound and a cotton wheel. The lightest, if you want, the lightest of clean that you can do on a crystal. I just treated the parts in epilam there. Again, like we're gonna put some oil like there on a cap jewel. So the epilam will help for the drop of oil to be retained in the center of the cap jewel. And when I put the chaton back on top there, the oil is in between. And now when I put it on a balance wheel, the balance staff, which is a pivot point of the balance wheel, is nicely like in a drop of oil that I just put inside the cap jewel there. And obviously we do the same thing on the other side, on the other jewel. Just put it in position and we close the spring on top of the jewel there. Okay, was the other cap jewel there for the escape wheel. So I'm just going to put it in position. I'm not oiling anything. I will just put it in position and we will use my automatic oiler later on to oil it. Just checking the balance, if it's moving freely, if the spring is fully flat and concentric, and it was looking good. So now we can focus on a barrel, gonna reassemble the barrel assembly, and being an automatic, gonna put some graphite grease on the wall there, because obviously the mainspring will slide on the wall. Being an automatic, it will never stop winding if you move your watch all the time. And I just put a brand new mainspring. And actually this mainspring was not, I tried to push it, but it was not fitting. It was just slightly too large. it was not fitting inside the barrel there. So I had to take it out, and I use my winder. I just wind it with my version winder. And now I should be able to put it inside the barrel. Just take out the handle there. And now I will just press the mainspring inside the barrel. There we go, perfect. Just putting the barrel arbor here. And now we should be able to close this barrel assembly. I will just put it inside this tool, and with a gentle press on it, we'll close the barrel. There we go, that's it. Always check as well the end shake on the barrel assembly and the barrel arbor, and it was looking fine. So I can focus now on just oiling the barrel arbor on both sides, and the barrel assembly is fully ready to go on a watch later on. Again, there with my automatic oiler, I'm just oiling the cap jewel from the escape wheel I just assembled, you remember, on the other side. And now I can put back all the wheel from the train of wheel. Very straightforward on this ETA movement. Again, ETA produced movement from very long time, and being an independent manufacturer, actually today will not be the case. You will not find an ETA movement inside the Tudor, because Tudor ETA is part of the Omega group, and Omega decided a while back not to sell any ETA movement or even any parts to anybody, like which is outside the Swatch group. And Tudor actually is part of Rolex, so the concurrent, if you want, of Omega. So today you will not find any ETA movement on a modern Tudor, and that's why actually Tudor now they produce their own caliber. They don't have ETA anymore. It's in-house caliber from Tudor. But yeah, at the time you will find like a lot of ETA calibers in this Tudor. Again, being, like I said at the beginning, being the cheaper alternative compared to the Rolex, he was able to put the price down a bit on the watch compared to a Rolex caliber. And there was other like way to turn the cost down compared to a Rolex, but they are still great watches. And again, taking a lot of values nowadays. And the ETA movement, very robust. You can see this watch. It was running pretty well, even if it was not maintained or it needed a service. And hopefully at the end, you will see that simple ETA, if you do a nice service on it, it will run great again for many, many years. So yeah, this Tudor is a great alternative as well to Rolex watches. Okay, so now I'm just putting back, I'm going to put back the bridge there, the barrel arbor bridge, but first I need to put the setting lever screw in position. And now I'm putting the bridge. Just kept in place with the screw here. And you will see me a lot like oiling all these parts. Again, oiling has two different purposes, or greasing. It will help to reduce the friction in the watch, and for the timekeeping, obviously, like you want to reduce the friction to a minimum, because or else you will lose too much power between the mainspring, where that's the source of power on your watch, and the balance assembly, which regulate the time. And as well, the parts will wear quicker. It's like on your car, if you don't change oil on your engine, at one point you will start wearing quicker and quicker, and at one point you will break. It's the same on a watch. So that's why you want to do a service quite regularly on your watch, especially on your vintage watch, because yes, the parts are more difficult to find, a bit more fragile as well sometimes. So that's why you want to service your watch. The way it should be done, like every 5 to 8 years, depending on how much you wear your watch, obviously. Yeah, that's the purpose of doing this service. And you will see the watch was not running great. And by just doing a sample service, you will find probably, I hope, a very nice watch, which will be running for many, many years. And that's a purpose of a nice service on a vintage watch. Okay, just putting the ratchet wheel there. Just move on the dial side now, and I'm gonna assemble the keyless work. Again, we said that's a part of the watch that will allow you to move from different setting if you want, from a time or wind setting on this watch. There is only 2 positions. And you will see me using a blue grease here because all these parts we see a lot of friction between each other, a lot of tension. So I'm using like a thicker grease because the oil will not be thick enough on this part of the watch. So now I'm just putting the winding stem through the clutch and the winding pinion. There we go. Just gonna put the setting lever that I need to screw from the other side. Always tricky to do this. Keeping the part with your finger and screwing it from the other side. And now we can assemble the rest. First putting some oil on all the different pivot points. And now I'm putting the yoke and the yoke spring. But first, we grease, like you see, like these parts, we see a lot of friction because we're gonna put a spring, like this yoke spring, which is a strong spring, and it will put some pressure on the parts. And again, to have a smooth operation and not too much wear between the parts, that's why we put this heavy grease there on all the contact point. And the setting lever spring that come on top. Okay, and so now we should be able to check if the keyless work is working by putting on a crown. Yeah, we see the 2 positions. Yeah, that's fine. Now we're winding and now we are setting time. Okay, so we move to the balance and we're gonna put the pallet fork here in position. Align it on the bottom jewel there, and now we're gonna put the bridge on top and align the pivot point on the jewel there at the top. And when it's positioned, we can press it, and yeah, we can see that the pallet fork is working left and right, so that's good. Just gonna wind the watch a tiny bit to see if the pallet fork is clicking, which means the power is coming to the pallet fork. Yeah, it's clicking left and right, so that's perfect. And you see me there under the microscope, I'm oiling the escape jewel from the pallet fork. Very tricky to do. We see me putting a drop. I will move it like 5 teeth and put a drop of oil again and do this 3 times. And now that everything is oiled, I'm just gonna put the balance assembly just very gently, dropping in position and see if the movement want to start. Yes, that's it. Perfect. And I'm just gonna put it after on a time grapher. And you see the amplitude, it has 250. The bit error, I did not touch it, so it's still at 2.2. But this is before oiling the pivot point and let it run for a while. You will see at the end the difference after oiling all the jewels there. So you see me under the microscope. I'm oiling the train of wheel, obviously on both sides, there on a balance side, using different type of oil depending on the speed of the wheel. So use different thickness of oil. Okay, so now that main movement if we want this fully assembled and fully working. We're gonna start focusing on the complication, assemble the rest of the complication. So on this side, we have the calendar. So I'm oiling now all the pivot point for the rest of the calendar mechanism and keyless work. You see me there, I'm greasing from the underside there, I'm greasing the part where we have the cannon pinion, the minute wheel that come on top, gonna put the hour wheel there, the calendar wheel, and we have this small intermediate wheel that actually I will have to move because I need to put it at the same time with a plate that go on top of it. And we have the date jumper there. You see with this wheel at the end. Looks like a ball bearing almost, which is actually quite nice to make the date jump. Again, like I said, the ETA is very good quality, and you can see there this date jumping mechanism is a bit more complicated than a standard one if you want. And now I put the date disc in position. And now I put the wheel, you remember, with the plate together. Here we go, now it's in position. And this plate as well will help the date disc to stay because it will cover few teeth of the date disc. And on the other side, we'll put this bridge that will come and cover a couple of wheels from the mechanism and the date disc, obviously. Okay, so let's see if the date is jumping. Yes, that's perfect. So the calendar mechanism is working, so we can put the dial back on the mechanism very gently there. Using again carbon tweezer tip just to make sure I don't scratch anything. And when it's in position, I will secure it by screwing the dial fit screw. Just gonna make the date jump again. And when it's jumping, I mean it's midnight, so like that we know where we need to put the hour hand to have a nice jump around midnight. That's it. You see the jump there. So gonna put the hour hand aligned to midnight. I'm just gonna use my Rolex tool there just to press the hour hand in position. Just gonna do the same thing with the minute hand. So I'm just gonna align it to midnight there. And we're gonna press it in position. Gonna check if I like to have the jump like 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after midnight. And let's see what we have right now. You see the date is coming. Well, it's just jumping at 4 minutes before midnight, so that's fine. We can put the second hand. Love this beautiful hand on this Tudor. And you can see there as well on the dial is rated to 200 meters. And obviously a Rolex Submariner is rated to 300 meters. So yes, there is a 100-meter difference there. And we will see later on when we work on the case where the difference can come from. Okay, so now I'm reassembling the winding mechanism. Putting the wheel. You remember it was this arm coming on the top there, which I'm closing with a screwdriver. I'm just going to lubricate the reversing wheel in Lubetta, which is a solution specially made to lubricate reversing wheel. Just going to leave them like for a few seconds inside, and when they are out, I'm gonna dry them. And now I have my nice pneumatic system there where I can blow some air on a part, much easier to dry the part. And I'm just gonna install the reversing wheel back in position. Just closing the screw there, which keeps the reversing wheel nice and in position. And now that is done, I'm gonna focus on the case. And first I'm gonna remove, and obviously I'm gonna change all the seals and gasket on this watch. So you see you have two O-ring inside the crown there. You have one on the outside, which is a triple lock system from Rolex, because you will have seals inside the tube, outside the tube, and in the crown. And actually the seal that was in the crown there was not the right one at all. It was the same one as the one that you put inside the tube, a round one. Not good at all, that. Just gonna place back the crystal. So for this, I use the winding stem just to align the cyclop there from the crystal. Just gonna put it in position and turn it to align it on a winding stem. And this is where the difference, I think, is coming from with the Rolex. Obviously, Rolex, the Submariner, you will have seals as well on a crystal. You will have a seal on a crystal and on a part that I'm putting right now. And I think that's what the difference is coming from, because the crown is exactly the same way as a Rolex, the seal in the crown, the case back as well. So the only difference is in a crystal. So I guess that's why you have a difference of 100 meters for the water resistance. It's just coming from the sealing of the crystal. Just putting the bezel, you remember that was broken there. So putting the insert, I just ordered a brand new spring there because it was broken. And now I'm just gonna clip it in position. And yeah, that's it, the case. Yeah, it's turning perfectly. Yeah, it looks perfectly fine. And this is all the brand new O-ring and gaskets. So I'm just gonna put them in this little box there. We're gonna coat each single one with Molykote, which is a grease that will help to be more watertight if you want. So we see I just put now all the, so we have the gasket that go at the back, you see on a case back. We have the one which is coming on the outside of the tube, and we have the one coming inside the tube, so we need to put two inside the tube there. Just press it in position. And the one inside the crown. So, which is called the triple lock, because when it's fully in position, you will have a seal on the tube, inside the tube, and outside on the crown. Just removing the dust there inside the crystal and on top of the dial just before I recase everything. There we go. So now the caliber is inside the case. Just gonna align everything. And it's just a matter of recasing the caliber. Inserting the crown, the winding stem with a screw down crown. Putting the clamp in the right position, you remember, because the watch at the beginning, when I was turning the crown, the caliber was moving inside. And this is this part there, this clamp that come and keep the caliber in position. And obviously prevent it from moving inside the watch. Just put the second one now. Okay, and we are just going to put the winding rotor there on the winding mechanism. Again, oiling all the contact point there, the rotating point. before we put this screw. Now we have a manual watch, and by putting this module on the top, we'll have a full automatic watch. There we go, it's in position, and I'm gonna secure it with the 2 screws. Just gonna check after if when we rotate, if everything is rotating nicely. Yeah, that looks fine in both directions. And when we wind the watch, the rotor should not move. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna close the case, and I will put a link down below as well if you want to buy this beautiful Orotech custom tool there, which are great to open and close watches, especially this Rolex case there. So I'll put the link down below in the description. Now that the watch is fully finished, we can put the bracelet in position. And next, what we're gonna do, we're gonna leave the watch on the winders, on an automatic winder for a couple of days, just for the oil to be in the right place and to make sure the winding mechanism is working as well. Okay, so I would like to use this opportunity to tell you that I have a website. I will put a link down on the top right corner there if you want to go to my website. You can find some of the watches that I restore on my channel. They're actually for sale if you want to buy some of these watches. And as well, you can see and you can contact me there to send me your watch for a service, like for example this Tudor Submariner. I will be very happy to service your watch. So you can go to my website and contact me there, and we will take it from there. And you see the result now on a time grapher after a full service. The amplitude went back up to 294, almost 300, which is really good. The bit error to 0.2, and the rate, the watch is around 0 minus 1 second a day, so not gaining or not losing much. So yeah, like I said, this watch, look at this beauty, is now running perfectly, and it will be fine for many years until the next service. So I hope you liked this restoration on this beautiful Tudor Submariner, and I see you next time for my next video. Bye bye. Thank you.